Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. I was at my boyfriend's house for a week, and he had planned a card tournament with his friends. Since I am not interested in card games, I decided to stay in the bedroom playing games on his computer. I could hear them talking, but I did not listen until I heard my name. Basically, the friends wanted some coffee. It was no big deal until one of them specifically wanted me to serve them. My boyfriend told him it was a bad idea, but he shrugged him off, saying that it was natural. The friend came to the bedroom and asked me to serve them coffee, and I said, sure. When I came to the living room, my boyfriend and all the other boys were shocked. My boyfriend asked me if I was all right, and I told him with a big smile, sure. My boyfriend started trying to hide a smile before telling his friend that I should not have to serve them in his home since I am a guest too. The other friends felt awkward, but the one insisting on me serving them doubled down, saying he was right and that it is natural for a woman to serve them. The group told him he went too far, but I agreed with him. The place of a woman is in the kitchen, with fire, blades, and household products clearly not meant to be swallowed. Do you want a classic coffee or an aromatic one? My boyfriend has hazelnut, Irish and caramel coffee too. By the way, did you know that cyanide actually smells just like almonds? Maybe that's why I never saw almond coffee. We would not notice if there is cyanide in it. My boyfriend burst out laughing. The friend was dumbfounded, and I just continued. They chose a classic coffee, sugar with the coffee. When I think about it, the most used weapon by women is poison. You know that product, antifreeze? Apparently it cannot be detected in an autopsy, which is why it was so much used to poison people, mainly husbands by their wives. The issue was so significant that now we do a test specifically to see if antifreeze is in the body. They chose no sugar. They asked that I change the subject, so I obliged. Do they know the movie Black Widow? The English title is Lamb to the Slaughter, thanks to Biled and Rare Bumblebee 1803. A very old movie in black and white. It is about a wife who kills her unfaithful husband with a freezing leg of lamb with a hit on the head, just like a baseball bat. She then cooks the lamb and even gives it to the police to eat when they investigate. It is fascinating how she uses her environment, the kitchen, to commit a crime. Do you want a cloud of arsenic in your coffee? Oh, did I say arsenic? I am sorry. I meant a cloud of milk. Don't worry, it's just a little slip of the tongue because I have been talking about poison for a while now. Someone asked why women use poison that much. I just answered, that makes sense. After all, some men expect women to serve them and confidently eat everything they make. I do not know why, but at that very moment, the friend rushed to the kitchen, escorted me out, and said he would make his own coffee. I asked if he was sure. After all, I did not mind. I still have a lot of funny stories to share. Is it because of the mention of arsenic and cyanide? Don't worry. I'm sure my boyfriend does not have that in his house. My boyfriend was trying to regain his breath while laughing. He managed to say, I told you so. I was forbidden to enter the kitchen until their friends left that day. I wonder why. I would have made those coffees. I just wanted to share my interest in investigations and crimes. First off, please no comments on the morality of my industry. We're either heroes or villains, depending on which side of the situation you're on. I've heard all the reasons why we're evil, and all the reasons why we're necessary. It's a job. I work overnights for a good-sized tow company in a popular Northwest city. I was in the truck for over 10 years. Now I'm in the office. I dispatch drivers, process paperwork, and help customers at the front counter when they come in to get their vehicles. I should mention that we are the primary contractor for our city's police department, which means we respond when they want a vehicle towed for a parking infraction. Driving under the influence, DUI, accident, stolen vehicle, etc. We also have contracts with private properties to remove improperly parked vehicles, but the police work is by far the largest percentage of our business. Being overnights, I see more than my fair share of DUI calls and accident calls, while I have fewer parking infraction calls on my shift. Being on Graveyard, I also get more than my fair share of strange characters. This is foreshadowing. Now, for the most part, people who come in are decent. They're not happy to have to pay money to get their car, but they usually understand that the police ordered the vehicle towed, so their ire is best aimed at the cops. Some actually admit that they made a mistake and chalk it up to a learning experience. Those are fancy multicolored unicorns with sprinkles. It's kind of a mixed bag, and I have thick skin, so it doesn't bother me much. On this particular evening, the shift previous to mine was busy, so I helped the clerk get caught up on his paperwork. There were a lot of parking infractions from some event downtown, so I knew the beginning of my shift would see some of these folks coming in to get their cars. And sure enough, I did. They were mostly civil, but this one woman, she's no more than 30 and is giving off strong, difficult customer vibes. She explains that her car was towed because she ran out of gas and left it in the middle of the street. No note or anything, mind you. No phone number to call. The police deemed it a hazard to traffic and ordered it towed. Happens all the time. She mentions wanting a form to request a hearing with the municipal court to contest the impound. No problem, we can do that. 2 different ways, actually. Option 1, pay the bill, get an itemized receipt and a hearing form, and take the vehicle. Send the hearing form in and at the hearing, explain to the judge the circumstances. If they decide it shouldn't have been towed, or they want to cut the owner a break, they'll get some or all of their money back. Option 2, request an expedited hearing. I fill out a form and fax it to the court. They don't get to take the vehicle, but they can get property out of it if needed. 2 business days later, a hearing is held, and they can explain the circumstances to the judge. If the judge finds in their favor, the court clerk will give the owner a form that directs us to release the vehicle to the owner at no charge. Once they come back to me and give me the form, I release the car and the transaction is done. Here's the thing. She wanted the hearing form but wanted to take the vehicle without payment. No, not the way it works. She immediately goes from 0 to unpleasant in 2.8 seconds, demanding a manager at midnight on Saturday night. Threatening to call the police, please do, swearing that her lawyer was going to get us shut down, and stating that her car had been impounded before and that was how it was done then. When I was able to get a word in edgewise, I explained it again. Then she wanted a copy of the company policy. Like what? Does the grocery store need a company policy to say you can't take those bananas without paying? Spoiler, it does not. When she realized that I wasn't going to budge, she then told me that I was a bad man, that I was not a godly man. I agreed and said, "Nope, I'm a Satanist." She looked at me like I'd slapped her and went outside. I presume she tried calling the police and was laughed at. I had other people to help, so I didn't see her for a while. But when she came back in, I didn't think she could be in a worse mood, but holy cow, she managed it. I then had to explain the hearing form procedures over and over again with her boyfriend. She kept saying that it didn't make sense, and was demanding to know exactly how she would get reimbursed. I told her, I've never attended one of these hearings, so I don't know how they do things there, and no one ever comes back to tell me. Then I made the mistake of suggesting that she might not be reimbursed, and oh my goodness, that set her off again. The dude finally got tired of her complaining and handed me a debit card, just to end the pain. All told, this was a nearly 4-hour ordeal. The rest of the night was comparatively smooth. I only had one person come in to try to sell me a speaker for $10. Sigh, just one more night until the weekend. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. This happened a few days ago, and I thought some of you might enjoy it. Some important background information is that even though I'm 16, I look like a 12-year-old girl. It's like I stopped aging after middle school, so encounters like this one aren't uncommon, but this is the worst one so far. On Thursday, I went to the park alone just to sit on a bench, enjoy nature, read a book, scroll on my phone, etc. There I was when I noticed a lady next to the playground watching me. She kept looking at me, and after 10 minutes, she started to walk towards me. I let out a sigh and prepared myself because I already had an idea of where this was going. The lady came up to me and said, "Excuse me, young lady, But where are your parents? Are they here? No, they're not here. Don't you think it's dangerous for a girl your age to be alone? No, not really, the lady, now sounding a little annoyed, said. A girl like you shouldn't be left unattended. Where are your parents? I want to talk to them. Ma'am, I appreciate your concern, but I'm 16 and very capable of taking care of myself. I must guess I picked the wrong response because after I said that, she got super bad. Don't lie to me, young lady. I'm not lying. I'm not stupid. I know what a 16-year-old looks like. Look, here's my driver's license. I pulled out my wallet and showed her my driver's license. She glanced at it and scoffed. Please, I know a fake license when I see one. My 10-year-old could do a better job making one. What? No, it's not fake. Can you just leave me alone? If it's not fake, then you'll have no problem showing it to those officers over there. She pointed to a police car that was parked on the side of the road. Before I could say anything, she reached down, grabbed my wrist really hard, pulled me off the bench, and started dragging me to the police car. Let me go, you're hurting me. As we got close to the car, an officer came out and approached us. Is there a problem, ma'am? Yes, there is, the lady said, pulling me in front of her. Tell the man what you did. Nothing. That's what I did. Now let go of me. Ma'am, is this your daughter? No, she's not my mom. She's just some random lady. Ma'am, please let go of the child. The woman then let go of my wrist. She's lying about her age and has a fake driver's license. Do you have a fake ID, miss? No. May I see it? Yes. I pulled out my driver's license and handed it to him. How old are you? 16. The officer looked me up and down before checking my driver's license. Ma'am, this is a valid driver's license. What? No, it can't be. She doesn't look 16, she's too young. The ID is valid and says she's 16. It's not a crime to look young, but it is a crime to drag someone across the street. Miss, do you want to press charges for assault? Wait, what? No, I just want to go back to my day. Very well. But wait, Ma'am, if I were you, I'd stop talking. I'd also apologize to this young lady and thank her because she just saved you from a lot of trouble. The lady gave a half-hearted apology and ran off. The officer then made sure I was all right, apologized for her, and handed back my driver's license. After that, I grabbed my stuff and went back home. That was my most recent experience with a crazy person. I used to work as a property manager for a semi-large investment firm. I was in charge of several apartment complexes, including a 55-plus Section 8 complex. One tenant in the complex was a constant troublemaker. He had a habit of calling the city inspection department whenever he had a problem in his apartment instead of filling out a work order to get faster service. This was a 300-unit building, so if it was a minor issue, it would be addressed on a first-come, first-served basis for non-emergency or safety issues. He actually called the city once for a dirty outlet cover. On one occasion, I got a visit from the inspector because this tenant's patio door was not functioning. This I would definitely consider a safety issue. So I immediately went up to his unit with the inspector in tow. The inspector had been there before coming to see me and confirmed the door was stuck in the open position and would not close. However, he thought it a bit odd that the tenant had two doors, which confused me a little since each unit only had one patio door. Upon entering the unit, we went to the patio, and sure enough, there were two patio doors. Side note, the tenant had been there long before I started working there, so this was the way it was long before me. He had floor-to-ceiling curtains that obscured the second door, which was always in the open position yet hidden from view. When I entered, I clearly saw a door that seemed perfectly fine. I went over to the working door to test if it was sliding and locking properly, and it was. I asked the inspector what seemed to be the problem. He pointed out the other door behind the curtains, which I now clearly noticed. It had been slid into the open position, and was not obstructing the egress at all. It seems that before my time, someone installed a new door but never removed the old one. They just extended the frame. This, in effect, fixed the problem in a half-hearted way. However, in my opinion, it was a working door and not a safety issue, which the inspector agreed with. The problem was that we had a city code that clearly stated any door must be in working condition, regardless of whether it was used or not. The inspector said I either had to fix or remove the door, and gave me a 5-day compliance order. By chance, I had a crew remodeling the unit across the hallway. While the inspector was filling out the order, I went to the other unit and asked one of the guys to use his maul and reciprocating saw. I went back into the tenant's apartment and proceeded to smash out the glass and start cutting the aluminum door with the reciprocating saw, and had the door busted out in less than 5 minutes, making a significant mess in the process. All this while the inspector was filling out his paperwork, and the tenant was watching in complete shock. I turned to the inspector and asked, "Does it now comply?" He sort of chuckled and said, "Legally, yes it does." I said, "Good, problem solved." And he agreed and signed off on the order. I had the guys across the hall clean up the mess, and went with the inspector back to my office. In the elevator, he said he had never seen something like that before, since he was as fed up with this tenant always bugging them over minor infractions as I was. He thought it was a hilariously creative solution, albeit not a very nice way to go about it. Not long afterward, the tenant got arrested for an assault and received a jail sentence, making him late on rent, which gave me the perfect excuse to evict him. Now comes the second instance of malicious compliance. Where I live, the sheriff is required to remove belongings after an eviction, but they limit the items to a set value and leave behind anything under the value threshold. So it was up to me and my crew to haul out the junk. While one of the guys was cleaning out his bedroom closet, he opened a box and found it stuffed full of pictures of children in different states of compromised situations, and several letters from a young boy that were quite disturbing. So, of course, I called the sheriffs back, and they took the evidence for additional charges to tack on to his jail time. One more note about the eviction. He also had a cat, and the cat was still there. I found out his neighbor was feeding it in his absence. Now the cat had to go. This cat was old and unattractive, and our local shelter is definitely a kill shelter. I knew he didn't have a chance of being adopted, so it was a certain death sentence. Now I'm a huge animal advocate. I have 3 rescue dogs, 5 horses, and a few barn cats, and felt pity for the poor guy. I thought one more barn cat wouldn't hurt, so I took him home. When I got him there, I found out he was declawed on all 4 paws and knew he would never make it in a barn setting. He lived out his remaining days comfortably inside our house. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences and opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.